People with toxic tendencies don't require your downfall. They simply seek to penetrate your thoughts, prompting you to overanalyze, justify, clarify, and doubt your own value. Yet, the reality is this: one does not conquer manipulators through confrontation. You conquer them by rendering yourself untouchable. Indeed, that is precisely the role that psychological boundaries fulfill. They offer more than mere protection. They render you unseen to those who thrive on your turmoil. In this video, we will explore 7 psychological boundaries inspired by Stoicism, formidable mental barriers that not only keep toxic individuals at bay, but also diminish their influence altogether. If you find yourself weary from being swept away by the emotional tempests of those around you, this is the approach you've been seeking. A certain strength exists that unsettles those who thrive on toxicity. It's not an outcry. It's not a matter of contention. It's not merely a departure. It is a tranquility that transcends mere passivity, embodying a stoic composure, a steadfastness born from the refusal to engage with emotional provocations. People who are toxic flourish on the responses they provoke. They press the buttons, testing which ones remain functional. Words are hurled like darts, not out of honesty, but with the intent to provoke flinching, defense, or, even more delightfully, an overreaction. For when you allow your emotions to dictate your response, control slips through your fingers. They embody the snare of reactivity. Have you ever observed how a narcissist deftly redirects blame when challenged, or how a passive-aggressive individual can utter something seemingly innocuous, yet laced with a hint of sarcasm that lingers in your thoughts throughout the day? That is not arbitrary. It's a battle of the heart and mind. Your initial boundary, the one that establishes the tone for all that follows, is this: I refuse to allow toxic individuals to dictate my emotional well-being. It may appear straightforward, yet it is nothing short of revolutionary. For in that instant you cease to react, you dismantle their control mechanism, deprive them of their fuel, and in the absence of that vital spark, the flames will inevitably extinguish. What Stoicism imparts is that the Stoics did not merely discuss the art of maintaining tranquility. They prepared diligently for it. Epictetus remarked that if another manages to provoke you, it is essential to recognize that your own mind plays a role in that provocation. To put it differently, the power of choice is always in your hands. Toxic individuals despise that. They despise it when their guilt trips fail to elicit a response, when their silent treatments no longer induce anxiety, when you pierce through the veil of manipulation and remain unfazed. This is not a withdrawal born of fear. This represents the pinnacle of understanding through conscious recognition, the strength found in withholding what they desire. The secret is revealed here. They seek to evade the truth. They crave disorder. Engaging in a dialogue with an individual disinterested in the pursuit of truth yields no resolution. You are entering their domain. In that arena, emotions serve as weapons, rendering your logic inconsequential. Thus, silence, stillness, and non-reactivity emerge as the most profound counterstrike. You are not turning a blind eye to reality. You are asserting your authority over it. You are expressing, devoid of language. You no longer have the power to dictate my emotions. An illustration drawn from reality. Let us breathe life into this. Picture yourself engaged in a dialogue, and a toxic individual remarks, "Oh, I see." You've reached a point where your concern has faded away. Oh, many would take the bait. They would sense the weight of the need to clarify, justify, or comfort. Yet, an individual who has truly mastered this boundary takes a moment to pause. They draw an air, and they reply with a serene assurance, encouraging you to embrace whatever truth you require. That isn't cold at all. That is the essence of mental liberation. You have effectively stripped them of their cherished currency, the essence of emotional connection. You have maintained your composure without the necessity to justify, clarify, or amend. That exemplifies the pinnacle of emotional intelligence at work. What is the method for training this boundary? This is not a decision made in a single moment. It's a strength you cultivate, particularly in moments of discomfort. Give this a go. Take a moment to reflect before you reply. Just a mere 3 seconds of silence can halt an instinctive response and alter the balance of power. Inhale deeply, allowing the breath to fill your body. Step away from your thoughts. Become aware of your feet. Calm your pulse. 3. Identify the internal trigger. This is a manipulation of feelings. I refuse to accept it. 4. Utter fewer words. Explore further. The essence of your strength lies in your ability to observe, rather than in your need to defend. Through diligent practice, this transforms into an instinctive response. Individuals may attempt to incite a reaction from you, yet you will respond with a smile. Not due to a lack of concern, but rather because the need to care has faded away. The threshold that lies beneath the threshold. Here lies the profound reality. Emotional non-reactivity does not equate to a state of numbness. It revolves around the art of being discerningly responsive. The feelings remain within you. Your concern remains evident. Yet, the decision of where to direct that energy lies solely in your hands. This boundary holds immense power. It does not diminish your humanity. It transforms you into a being with purpose. You cease to exist under the whims of others' feelings. You embark on the journey of crafting your own inner realm. In that realm, there is no place for toxic individuals. To withdraw your presence from someone who thrives on attention is not merely to turn your back. It is to leave an echo in the silence. You severed their lifeline. In a realm captivated by clamor, embracing silence becomes an act of defiance. For those who embody toxicity, silence becomes a weapon of psychological warfare. What is the reason behind this? Your reaction, your explanation, your anger, and your desire for understanding are the very foundation of their entire game. By refusing to engage in that game, by responding to provocation with calmness, you strip away the essential element they require to exert control over you, your connection to emotions. Silence is not a passive state. It's a calculated maneuver of influence. Let us establish one point unequivocally. Silence does not equate to weakness. It's not evasion. It is a deliberate choice to resist being drawn into their emotional whirlpool. It declares, I perceive your presence. I grasp the intention behind your actions. I shall refrain from participating. It stands as a pinnacle of emotional intelligence, safeguarding your tranquility while upholding your dignity. The greatest fear of toxic individuals. The harsh reality is this. Toxic individuals embrace confrontation without hesitation. They harbor a fear of being cut off from one another. Your mind is their gateway. They seek to understand your emotions, your thoughts, and the triggers that still resonate within you. Your silence transforms into their greatest fear. For in the moment you cease to justify your existence, they come to understand that they are no longer privy to the essence of your world. To a person who flourishes in the realm of control, that reality is nothing short of devastating. The underlying psychology at play. In the absence of sound, reflection fades away. Such individuals, characterized by their narcissism or manipulative tendencies, depend on this very notion. They must find their own image mirrored in you. When they inflict pain and you cry out, it elevates their sense of significance. When you shed tears, they bask in a sense of power. Engaging in a dispute only serves to elevate their sense of superiority. Yet, in the quietude of your stillness, as your expression remains unaltered and your lips seal their secrets, they start to come undone. Now, they find themselves alone with their own reflections. Toxic minds shun the stillness of silence. In the stillness, they begin to confront their true selves. An illustration drawn from the tapestry of everyday existence. Imagine yourself ensnared in a conversation where the truth seems to slip through your fingers, leaving you questioning your own reality. You seem to be taking this a bit too personally. I did not make that statement. It is clear that you recognize its falsehood. You seek to advocate for your own position. Yet rather than engaging in a debate, you meet their gaze directly. Remain quiet and just turn and leave. In that moment, you transcended mere preservation of your peace. You effortlessly dismantled their facade of control, leaving no trace of your involvement. That exemplifies the embodiment of spiritual discipline. Not every conflict is yours to engage in, particularly those crafted to deplete your energy. Quietude serves as a protective barrier. It is not a sword. Silence is frequently mistaken for passive aggression. In Stoicism, silence embodies the essence of containment. It is the capacity to experience anger without allowing it to dictate one's actions, to experience pain without succumbing to reactivity, to stand firm without the necessity of overpowering others. It declares that I am not obligated to offer you my energy, my presence, or my words. That embodies the essence of self-mastery. What are the steps to cultivate this quiet power? 1. Recognize the moment to cease your words. Not every misconception warrants your clarification. 2. Allow the silence to extend. Do not hasten to occupy the emptiness. Allow them to experience it fully. 3. Be mindful of your body language. Maintain your stance. Serene inhalation. Steadfast resolve. 4. Depart with a sense of purpose. To walk away is to convey a message all its own. 5. In moments of intensity, embrace the power of strategic pauses. A brief pause of 5 seconds can amplify your presence tenfold. This is not a matter of frivolous pursuits. It revolves around earning respect effortlessly, without the need to plead for it. The profound journey of letting go. Silence devoid of inner strength merely represents evasion. Yet silence imbued with purpose, that is true freedom. It proclaims to the world that I determine what influences my life. I determine who is granted entry into my emotional realm. It is not done as a means of inflicting punishment upon others. One engages in this practice to safeguard their mental clarity, maintain emotional balance, and preserve a sense of tranquility. Detachment does not equate to indifference. It is the decision to refrain from losing oneself in those who have already lost their way, the reasons behind its effectiveness and the pain it inflicts upon them. In silence, they lose their power to guilt you, to twist your emotions, to bask in the superiority of your turmoil. Rather, they experience a sense of invisibility, helplessness, and insignificance. And for an individual who craves control, this feeling of being irrelevant equates to a form of psychological demise. You chose not to confront them. You did not offend them. You simply ceased to appear at the performance. And that is the path to victory. In this era of unceasing connectivity, the ease of access has morphed into a snare. There is an expectation for you to remain emotionally present, digitally engaged, and mentally alert at all hours. They seek instant entry into your thoughts, your vitality, your concentration, and the influence of detrimental individuals. This expectation is skillfully exploited. They obscure boundaries. They push the limits. Your openness is seen as an invitation to intrude. Yet, within this moment lies an enduring truth of Stoicism. Power diminishes the instant you become overly accessible. Ascesis embodies mastery. Let us speak with unvarnished truth. The greater your availability, the more adept manipulators become at discerning your patterns. As they delve deeper into your reactions, they increasingly mold your existence through calculated interference. Imagine a narcissist who chooses the most hectic moments to reach out, or a friend steeped in drama who unloads their emotional burdens just before your significant day. Your time remains unvalued because you have not shown them its worth. Boundaries encompass more than mere refusals. They concern what you cease to provide immediate access to. A measured stance, a calculated retreat. Stoics never fixated on the notion of being omnipresent for all. They held a conviction in being rather than merely doing. They recognized that your energy holds a sacred quality. Your time is a precious commodity, and your peace serves as the bedrock of your clarity. Thus, they engaged in deliberate withdrawal, not from a place of ego, but to remain grounded in their inner realm. As you begin to diminish your emotional availability, an extraordinary transformation unfolds. Toxic individuals start to feel a sense of urgency, not due to your absence, but because they can no longer dictate the moments of your presence. An illustration drawn from reality. Imagine a time when you felt compelled to reply to every furious message without delay, but now, things have changed. Once you have established your boundary, you take a moment to reflect, inhale deeply, and choose your response hours later, or perhaps decide to remain silent altogether. Initially, their volume increases. They inundate you with messages, perhaps even attempting to evoke feelings of guilt for your perceived coldness or selfishness. Yet, in time, they come to understand that they are no longer responding according to my conditions. And that is the moment when the power shift commences. Your emotional unavailability has granted you a realm of mental sovereignty. Absence does not equate to disregard. Let us clarify a matter. Being unavailable does not equate to retreating into solitude. It does not imply severing ties with the world or dismissing the value of connection. You cease to justify yourself to those who twist reality. You cease to engage in disputes you never consented to. You cease to provide your emotional presence as a communal resource. Your attention is something to be earned, not taken for granted. It represents the contrast between a flickering light in a corridor and a carefully tended fire within a sacred space. What are the ways to uphold this boundary? Discover the art of cultivating strategic unavailability free from guilt. 1. Postpone your reply. Reaching out does not necessitate an immediate response from you. 2. Please provide your available times. Safeguard your time for focused work or rejuvenation. Engage with purpose and thoughtfulness. 3. Refrain from justifying your quietude. There is no need to account for every silent pause with an emotional toll. 4. Restricting digital access silences harmful conversations. Seep. Please refrain from interrupting. Intervene if necessary. 5. I must decline that invitation. Formidable. Unambiguous. Concluding. This is not cruelty. It embodies self-respect in motion, a transformation of the mind. By choosing to become unavailable, you effectively shield yourself from the toxic individuals who once siphoned your energy, anticipated your responses, and manipulated your presence. And would you believe it? They will brand you as frigid, remote, and haughty. However, that is merely projection. What they truly mean is that you no longer rely on my approval for emotional support, and that frightens me. The allure of the uncommon. Recall that what is scarce attains worth. What is perpetually accessible transitions into an expectation, subsequently breeds resentment, and ultimately invites exploitation. This boundary restores your uniqueness. In that unique moment, you earn the respect of those who matter, instill fear in the manipulators, and find refuge from the turmoil of emotions. You have shed the role of a sponge, no longer soaking up the tumult of others' lives. You transform into a mirror, echoing solely that which resonates with your tranquility. Cease the effort of justifying yourself to those who are determined to misconstrue your intentions. Peruse that once more. One of the most draining snares laid by toxic individuals is their ability to persuade you that you must provide a reason, a justification, an emotional receipt for every boundary you establish. Should you find yourself ensnared in that trap, you will dedicate your existence to bargaining for your tranquility with individuals who never had any intention of honoring it from the outset. Explanations serve as a mechanism of control. At first glance, offering an explanation appears to be a benign act, perhaps even courteous. Yet, within toxic dynamics, the act of explanation transforms into a chance for manipulation. They inquire, "Why did you not respond to me? What has caused this chill between us? Why can't we discuss this maturely?" Yet, those inquiries do not pursue the essence of truth. Access is being sought. The more you elucidate, the more they contort. They intrude, illuminate the shadows, reimagine, reduce to the essentials. They sow seeds of uncertainty in the depths of your thoughts, observing as you slowly come apart from the inside. That does not constitute a conversation. That is control veiled in illusion. Calm restraint in contrast to heartfelt reasoning. A Stoic mind requires no validation from the world around it. It simply requires an understanding of what is genuine. When you choose in alignment with your values, clarity, and peace, there is no need to transform it into a courtroom drama. One must merely take action. That is a serene assurance. Such is the essence of spiritual discipline. That is emotional intelligence at work. Understanding the cycle of guilt and methods to liberate oneself from it. Toxic individuals often rely on this, the reflex of guilt that stirs within you. They understand that by pressing the appropriate emotional trigger, you will relent. You tend to provide excessive detail. You will find yourself questioning your choices. Your position will become more lenient. They are not seeking the truth. They seek the advantage. When you establish a boundary and find yourself compelled to elaborate, take a moment to reflect. Inhale deeply and remind yourself that this boundary is not open for debate. An instance from my own experience. Picture yourself navigating the relentless barrage of messages from a domineering former partner. What is the reason for your silence towards me? I seek resolution. An impulse stirs within you to reply, to embody kindness, to conclude matters amicably. Yet, beneath the surface, the truth lingers in your heart. This individual consistently disregarded your tranquility. Closure is not what they seek. They seek a response to nourish their desires. Rather than articulating your thoughts, you choose silence. Regrettably, I must decline to engage in this conversation. Be well. There is no defense, free from remorse. Cease all communication. That does not constitute cruelty. That exemplifies a remarkable level of emotional detachment. No is a full statement in itself. This is an idea that turns everything on its head. No does not mark the start of a discussion. The conclusion of a transaction has arrived. There's no need for you to clarify your reluctance to participate, the reasons behind your sense of insecurity. What prompted your change of heart? One might express, I find myself uneasy with this situation. I have no desire to take part in this. Negative, my sincere gratitude. And then, pause. In the stillness, your strength gathers and fortifies. It is the realm where manipulation meets its end. What steps can be taken to establish this boundary? First, commit in advance to your decision, clearly defining your boundaries to withstand the pressures that may arise. 2. Express yourself concisely, with tranquility, and with a sense of conclusion. No expression of regret. There is no space for compromise. 3. Anticipate resistance and refrain from further comment. Allow their unease to linger in their hearts. 4. Diary. The elements that set you in motion. Observe the moments when guilt begins to seep into your thoughts. In that space, you find yourself most susceptible to manipulation. 5. Engage in the art of self-affirmation. Remind yourself, my tranquility does not hinge on their validation. This serves as the cornerstone of self-mastery. Yet, many individuals fail to construct it, ensnared as they are in the allure of seeking approval. A transformation in mindset from seeking validation to embracing independence. In the silence that follows the cessation of explanation, a profound transformation unfolds. You restore your mental clarity. You cease to dwell on the perceptions others hold of you. You cease the art of weaving flawless sentences to evade misinterpretation. Instead, you begin to live from within, grounded in principle rather than swayed by the allure of popularity. This embodies the essence of Stoicism. Your opinion of me is not my concern. That is not apathy. That embodies a profound sense of emotional autonomy. Toxic individuals will respond positively. Anticipate the outcomes that arise when you cease the act of explanation. They will label you as unfeeling. Your concern once ran deeper. Your behavior seems to have changed. Allow them. What they truly convey is that your emotional reliance on my approval has diminished, rendering me insignificant. Allow them to confront their own insignificance. It is not a weight meant for you to bear. Toxic individuals inflict pain beyond mere words. They observe you closely. Your reactions are under their scrutiny. They take note of what sets you off. Your patterns are meticulously cataloged. The quality of your voice's tone, the change in your emotional state, the precise instant you break, and then it is wielded as a weapon against you. This represents the essence of emotional manipulation. Should they foresee your actions, they hold the reins of your fate. Yet, when your responses turn erratic, when you glide through situations with serene detachment rather than instinctive emotion, they find themselves stripped of their narrative. You transform into an enigma, and unreadable remains unbreakable. The snare of predictability. Let us dissect this matter. Toxic manipulators are drawn to patterns, for it is within these patterns that they find a sense of predictability. Predictability fosters a sense of control. Illustration. Should they realize that a guilt trip will compel you to yield, they will undoubtedly employ it. Should they realize that elevating their tone elicits a reaction, they will certainly do so. Should they realize that tears can compel you to linger, they will summon them effortlessly. You believe you are engaging with an individual who is suffering. You are not. You are confronted by an individual who has meticulously learned how to press your buttons. You seem to be quite sensitive. You always seem to disregard my words. It seems that you have lost interest altogether. It is not chaos. It is a matter of strategy. The strategy is effective solely when you maintain a consistent response. The unpredictable edge of Stoicism. The Stoics did not merely condition themselves to experience diminished emotions. They conditioned themselves to respond with greater restraint. Each time you respond without thought, you reveal pieces of yourself, your emotional landscape, your anxieties, your vulnerabilities, your tender areas. Yet, when you reply with composure or choose silence, when you remain anchored in reason rather than feeling, you transform into an enigma. Unfathomable individuals instill fear in those who seek to manipulate. What is the reason behind this? Your predictability is the very foundation upon which their entire game relies. Shatter that. You shatter their entire system. An authentic existence. Illustration. Envision a scenario where an individual persistently tugs at your heartstrings with the same emotional narrative. You are the one they hold responsible. You stand your ground. They intensify. A wave of panic washes over you. They express their regrets. Forgiveness is granted. Cleanse. Reiterate. Imagine this scene. You are the one they hold responsible. You strike a pose. Remain silent. Embrace the stillness. There is no defense. There is no dispute. No explanation provided. They rise once more. Amplify the sound. Yet, there remains an absence of anything. In an instant, they are the sole voice in the conversation. They stand vulnerable. Amidst the turmoil of their own making, they find themselves isolated. The stillness that envelopes the air. The essence of unpredictability. It is not a state of passivity. It embodies a form of psychological supremacy. What steps can be taken to establish this boundary? There is no need for you to harden your emotions. One must simply learn to be less conspicuous. Allow me to explain. 1. Examine your habits closely. What do you typically express when you feel guilt? How do you instinctively respond to feelings of anger or sadness? 2. Establish a fresh, default moment of silence before you begin to articulate your thoughts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Allow the feeling to flow through you. 3. Engage with a sense of tranquil inquiry. Pose inquiries rather than responding impulsively. What leads you to that conclusion? What is it that you require from me at this moment? 4. Release the desire for comprehension. There's no necessity to elucidate every detail. Allow them to linger in their confusion. It is the moment their facade shatters. 5. Engage in the practice of detachment through meditation. Diary. Practice, serene amidst the storm. Calm transcends mere mood. It is an instrument of destruction, the transformation of the mind. As you break free from the chains of predictability, the toxic individuals around you begin to question their cunning tactics. Release emotional control, collapse beneath the weight of their own strategies. The game no longer receives your sustenance. You observe the game from a distance. It is at this juncture that true mastery takes root. The more shrouded your intentions, the harder it becomes for them to orchestrate your demise. Transitioning from emotional reactivity to a state of strategic stillness. This is not a matter of pretense. The focus lies on the art of training. Stoicism imparts wisdom. It is not necessary to reveal every emotion that stirs within you. What is the reason behind this? In a realm where feelings are turned into weapons, your tranquility serves as your armor. Predictability comes effortlessly. In the embrace of stillness lies true power. Allow them to ponder the depths of your thoughts. Allow them the challenge of anticipating your next step. Allow them to grapple with their own frustration in their attempts to provoke a reaction from you. You have stepped away from their intricate emotional chess game. You have transformed into the very essence of the board, the strength found in embracing unpredictability. When you shatter your emotional routines, this is the outcome. You attain a state of untriggerability. Respect is the key to earning. You render manipulators devoid of power, and that fills them with disdain. For it is in the instant they can no longer foresee your presence that they come to understand they never truly possessed you. That realization lingers, casting a shadow over them. Let us clarify one point. Not all that stirs your emotions warrants your focus. Indeed, the most potent response within a toxic dynamic is the absence of any reaction whatsoever. Toxic individuals thrive not on truth, but on deception. They thrive on your energy, your frustration, your confusion, your anger, your desire to explain, to defend, to be acknowledged. By severing that energy source, by choosing silence over the ignition of sparks, you do more than merely withdraw from the game. The board is turned over completely, the dynamics of energy exchange and the methods to disrupt it. Each encounter with a manipulator is a transaction of energy. Your presence evokes deep feelings. They seize the reins. You provide protection. They exploit the situation. It lacks the essence of a dialogue. It is a transaction. Your emotions serve as the currency. What transpires when you embrace utter stillness? The transaction comes to a close. You shut the door to your emotional vault, and in an instant, they find themselves in bankruptcy. Emotional intelligence is not synonymous with emotional availability. Here lies the misunderstanding. Many believe that possessing emotional intelligence entails being perpetually accessible, consistently offering empathy, and continually providing explanations, comfort, and clarity. However, that does not constitute emotional intelligence. That is a form of emotional servitude. Genuine emotional intelligence lies in the ability to discern the moments for engagement and detachment, recognizing that sometimes silence speaks more truthfully than any words ever could. In toxic dynamics, silence is far from passive. It is warfare defined by precision. When they exert pressure, you remain steadfast. Envision a narcissist attempting to incite a reaction from you. There has been a transformation in you. It's hard to fathom how distant you've become. It seems you never truly cared. An instinct stirs within you, compelling you to set the record straight, to safeguard your reputation. Yet, in silence, you choose to remain. Silence lingers, expressionless. There is an absence of emotional intensity, merely emptiness. To one who wields influence with cunning, this is not silence. This is a form of psychological deprivation. It sends shivers down their spines. Their entire strength hinges on your willingness to provide them with responses. Absence of reaction translates to absence of fuel. Without fuel, there can be no flame. A narrative grounded in reality. A woman once recounted how her narcissistic ex would inundate her with messages, sometimes as many as 10 or even 30 a day, after she severed all ties. Not ones filled with anger. Captivating connections. Your absence lingers in my thoughts. I am shattered in your absence. Your understanding of me has always been profound. I kindly ask that you engage in conversation with me. She nearly replied countless times. Yet, a spark ignited within her. She came to understand that none of this revolves around love. It revolves around the notion of control. Thus, she chose not to block him. Her silence lingered. She chose to leave the messages untouched, lingering in silence. 3 days later, he dispatched her. Your cruelty knows no bounds. Your heart seems to be made of stone. You are not the person I believed you to be. In that moment, clarity washed over her. Her silence shattered him, not out of a desire for vengeance. Yet, she chose to reclaim her inner peace, steadfast in her refusal to exchange it for validation. Why the quietude of Stoicism can be more lethal than the fury of rage. Silence often evokes a deeper fear than the clash of words. For in silence, they find themselves solitary. With themselves, manipulators are utterly intolerant of that. They find themselves ensnared by the allure of external chaos. Thus, they evade the necessity of facing their inner turmoil. In moments of silence, you compel them to confront their own reflections. You compel them to scrutinize their own perception. You compel them to recognize that they have lost their grip on control. This embodies the Stoic mindset. Winning the argument is not my priority. I simply seek to reclaim my own essence. Training the muscle of non-reaction. Do not be mistaken. Discipline is essential for this endeavor. Your nervous system is conditioned to respond. Yet, that is a result of your conditioning for survival, not to surpass. Here is the method to construct it. Pause and take a breath before responding. 3 deep breaths taken before responding can transform the entire situation. Identify the title of the game. Contemplate whether this is a genuine necessity or merely a form of persuasion. If that is the case, embrace silence. Welcome the unease. Initially, silence may seem unsettling. Your connection is rooted in shared trauma. Shouting, not your reality. Establish a ritual for detachment. Following a catalyst. Take a stroll. Today, I found myself reflecting on the myriad of thoughts that danced through my mind. Each moment felt like a fleeting whisper, urging me to capture its essence. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, a reminder of the beauty that surrounds us. I took a deep breath, allowing the tranquility of the evening to wash over me as I relocate the sentiment to a secure place. Envision yourself as an unwavering mountain, rooted in reality, unaffected by the whims of wind or the caprices of weather. Not every insult requires a response. Not every falsehood requires your correction. There is no need to confront chaos with words. Your silence speaks volumes, conveying an understanding that transcends words. Yet, I am no longer yours. Perspectives to hold dear. Silence does not equate to avoidance. It is the pinnacle of skill. Withholding my response serves as a shield for my energy. They do not merit the elevation of my blood pressure. With each moment of silence you embrace, you are affirming a profound truth. True tranquility surpasses the need for validation from the outside world. The absence of response stands as the definitive psychological barrier. Words have the power to be contorted. The manipulation of tone is indeed possible. Your reactions may be wielded as weapons against you. Yet, there was silence. Silence remains beyond reach. Silence possesses a purity all its own. Silence possesses an impenetrable strength. As your silence settles into a steady rhythm, they cease to challenge you. The lesson has been learned. This individual is now immovable. This individual is no longer under my influence. Let us clarify a point. There is no requirement for you to reveal your entire being to each individual you encounter. The essence of your vitality, the essence of your reality, the visions that dance in your mind, the aspects of yourself that expose your fragility, they hold a sacred significance. Yet, the instant you begin to distribute them without discernment, you forfeit a treasure of immeasurable power. Individuals with toxic tendencies flourish when granted access. Access that transcends the mere physical realm. Access to emotions. Your fears become their subject of study. Your vulnerabilities are etched in their memory. Your narrative becomes a tool of manipulation. Thus, one of the most steadfast and calculated boundaries you can establish is this deliberate exposure. Not everyone is worthy of witnessing the entirety of your being. Why do toxic individuals seek to absorb your entire essence? This is the way it operates. The greater their understanding of your essence, the simpler it is for them to sway your actions. They discover the sources of your guilt. What causes you to doubt your own decisions? What drives your desire for acceptance? Toxic individuals are akin to psychological hackers. Your overexposure serves as their clandestine entry point. Oversharing prematurely, particularly with individuals yet to be vetted, provides them with a guide on how to manipulate your vulnerabilities. Yet, in the pursuit of emotional minimalism, one finds themselves shrouded in an air of mystery. Those who are unreadable remain beyond the reach of governance. Emotional intelligence embodies the essence of selective exposure. Numerous individuals conflate openness with authenticity. However, let us speak candidly. Authenticity does not equate to complete transparency. It revolves around the art of discernment. The Stoics never endorsed the idea of openly displaying one's emotions. They engaged in a deliberate and thoughtful presence. They understood the art of sincerity, skillfully navigating the delicate balance that kept them safe from those who would prey upon their openness. One can embody kindness and privacy, warmth and caution, authenticity and strategy. Truth, while undeniable, does not always demand expression. An illustration drawn from reality. Imagine a colleague who appears to take an unusual interest in the details of your personal life. Initially, it appears to be harmless. How is your family faring? What projects are you pursuing in your spare time? Your response is candid. In the coming week, that very information will be turned against you. They inadvertently bring up your challenges in front of your supervisor. They chuckle about your side hustle with other colleagues. A sense of vulnerability washes over you, leaving you feeling as though your boundaries have been breached. Yet the true error? It was a matter of trust, or rather, the lack thereof. It had been overexposed prior to testing. That moment imparts a poignant lesson in Stoicism. Not all are prepared to embrace the reality of who you are. Yet, some may never reach that point. The triad of indulgence, a transformative shift in mindset that holds immense power, is this. You are a complex entity. Not every layer ought to be accessible to all. Let us dissect it. First, access for the public, informal exchanges, polite warmth. 2. Examined faith, gradually presented, contingent upon reliability. Security, emotional maturity. 3. The hallowed inner circle, set aside for those who demonstrate unwavering loyalty through the passage of time. The limits of managed exposure entail understanding what to offer, to whom it should be given, and the precise moment to withdraw without the necessity of justification, as overexposure can lead to complications. Pose the question to your own mind. Am I left feeling depleted after engaging in conversations with specific individuals? Am I inadvertently disclosing aspects of myself in a quest for connection or acceptance? Do others possess a deeper understanding of me than I do of them? If so, you are draining your emotional vitality. Now is the moment to adjust our course. How can one establish this boundary while maintaining warmth? There's no need to close off entirely. However, it is essential to transition your default setting from open access to a more deliberate release approach. Allow me to explain. First, postpone the revelation. Pause to evaluate an individual's emotional maturity prior to disclosing any personal information. 2. Reflect before you share. Pay attention to the extent of someone's self-disclosure before revealing your own truth. 3. Employ ambiguity with intention. There is no need for deception. Simply refrain from providing an explanation. I am diligently pursuing some personal goals, and that is sufficient. 4. Observe the way they handle the confidences of others when they share gossip with you. Whispers will circulate about you forever. 5. Exercise discernment in your openness. Vulnerability holds immense power, yet it thrives solely within the embrace of secure confines. This isn't manipulation. It embodies a profound commitment to the soul's journey. Upon mastering this boundary, a transformation unfolds. You transform into an enigma for those who seek to manipulate. You transform into an enigma for those who seek to drain your vitality. You draw in those with emotional intelligence effortlessly. What is the reason behind this? Your ability to hold back reflects a profound sense of self-control. Self-mastery is indeed a rarity. Scarcity holds great worth, and that which is valuable commands respect. Keep this in mind. No one is entitled to complete access to the depths of your being. Amidst the cacophony of constant revelations, your quietude holds a profound sanctity. In an era where connections are formed at lightning speed, your ability to discern is nothing short of groundbreaking. There's no need to pretend when it comes to casual conversation. There is no necessity to confront trauma with more trauma. There's no need to suffer in silence to be acknowledged. Your essence can be safeguarded. You have the ability to stay complete,